That's the journey. That's the growth. We fall down, we get back up. Otherwise, we stay exactly where we are, down on the ground for the rest of our lives. And I don't know about you, but I'm unwilling to do that.
This is The Deep Dive with Adam Roa.
What is up, deep divers? Hello. It's Adam Roa, and I am here with another deep dive musing. This one is the three components, the three tips, the three tools that I use to deal with rejection. And this is straight from you, my Instagram audience, because I wasn't sure what you wanted to hear. I asked you, what do you want me to do a podcast on? How to deal with rejection. And here we are. I'm in a bathrobe because this is how I feel right now. This is how I feel. I'm going through my own, situation with rejection, feeling rejected. And so it's not an uncommon feeling for me. I've actually experienced it a lot as an actor, for example. Pretty much every single audition that you don't get, which is most of them, is a form of rejection. And I've gotten a chance to really perfect dealing with rejection. And so I'm excited to share what I know around this, as sad as it might be, and how I might feel in this moment. And before diving into these three components for myself, I want to just ask, if you're getting value out of the Deep Dive podcast, if you're enjoying this thing, then please take a moment, subscribe, follow on YouTube, on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, all the places, so that the algorithms continue to see that we are a growing Deep Dive tribe, which we are. And that little action can go a long way to helping this podcast grow. So thank you in advance for doing that. Now let's just talk for a moment about feeling rejection. I think it goes without saying, this is not one of the three tools that I use, but it's important to let yourself feel. That's you've probably gathered that from all of my podcasts. Just allowing yourself to feel is so important, because when we stuff it down, when we pretend that it's not there, when we say, I don't want to feel this right now, it's not that it goes away. It doesn't leave the body. It doesn't leave the system. It gets stored in little compartments in your cells. And at some point, it's going to need to be dealt with. And so this, when unresolved, becomes disease in the body, becomes illness in the body. It becomes this underlying anger, short tempers, depression. All of this stuff can result from not letting ourselves feel the emotion in real time. So I just want to preface by saying that, above all else, applies to everything about how I live my life in general, is just letting myself feel. And so if you can't tell, there's a lot of emotion in me right now. I've been feeling a lot over the last couple of days. And so let's get into these three key components to dealing with rejection. And the first one is not to make it mean something about yourself. This is a tricky one. But the thing that we are predisposed to do as human beings is to make sense of what happens in our lives, to try and put together the pieces so we can say, this is why this happened. And the thing is that when we are rejected, right, whatever that looks like, say someone breaks up with us, say you don't get the job offer or you get fired, that we can't see their thought process fully. We can't actually see all the components that went into that being the reality. We also can't see the future for ourselves that we're actually calling in, because if something's showing up in your life, that means that there is a reason for it. It is on the path of where you've set your GPS, right? That's the manifestation process. And because we can't see those things, our brain starts to say, well, it must be because of this or this or this or this. And those projections are in the moments of rejection. Those are often coming from an incredibly emotional place. And those are going to then have a deep emotional tie to them that isn't exactly logical, right? Our emotions aren't exactly logical. And so if we put our emotions as the primary methodology by which we're putting together the reasons why something might have happened, why we might have been rejected, it's very often not the truth. It's very often not the reason. That's where our stories come in that say we're not good enough. That's the part of us that says they're XYs, they're not good enough. They're narcissistic. They're whatever. They don't know jack, right? Like those kinds of emotional responses based in anger, in self-defense, in sadness, the thing that says, I am not enough is not the truth. But we can assign that value in a moment of emotional rejection. And once we do that, if we actually say, this is the reason why, and we take that on, that starts to become a belief. And the moment it starts to become a belief, it gets reinforced over and over, and it starts to become the lens that you wear. This is how the I am not enough programming at 40 years old is the main lens that someone can wear, is because they took it on at some point in their life and they reinforced it over and over. And so the first thing that you get to do in these moments of rejection is not make it mean something about yourself or about the other person coming from that emotional state. Just feel it. Let it be. Let it be. And then you can move on to kind of a second key component. And the second component for me around this is to take the lessons and leave the baggage. Take the lessons, leave the baggage. And that requires really taking a moment to look at what you've learned from the experience, what you've gained from the experience. Because the moment that you step into that mindset and realize, wow, I learned this. I've learned this about myself. I've learned this about them. I've learned this from the experience. I've developed a new level of understanding for myself, for my life. The moment you can step into that, you can have some gratitude, which is hugely healing. But also you can start to differentiate what things aren't serving you, what beliefs aren't serving you that you can leave behind. Leave the rest, leave the baggage, leave what's not serving you. And when you recognize the lessons that you've learned and the growth that you have, you also understand that that can't be taken away from you. So even though you may be in a space of rejection, you understand that you're leaving with a gift that will never be taken away from you. And shifting from the emotional state of sadness and anger and resentment, shifting out of that and into a state of gratitude and appreciation is a necessary component to dealing with rejection. Otherwise, you just stay in the rejection forever and ever and ever. And that's not going to serve you. And so then that leads me to my third key component. What's up, deep divers? Hope you're enjoying the episode. I just wanted to take a moment to let you know about my new nonprofit, Surrendered Artist. This is a charity organization that I have founded because I want to teach people the power of art as a technology to shift human consciousness. I've spoken about it a lot on this podcast, and now there's an actual organization that is dedicated to spreading this information. It is also aiming to empower artists with tools to shift out of the starving artist archetype and into a surrendered artist archetype. One of those tools is my 4-step creative process called Unlock Your Inner Artist. We have a free gift for you. If you go to surrenderedartist.org/programs, or if you check out the link in the show notes, you will be able to receive a free multi-page PDF describing this process so that you can go and unlock your inner artist today. To dealing with rejection, which is feeling proud for putting yourself out there. It may take a moment, as I've dealt with a lot of heartbreak in my life. Sometimes it's really hard to feel like it was a good decision to put your heart out there. Sometimes it doesn't feel like that was the smartest thing to do. Sometimes it feels like you're never going to do it again. go into this space of that was so not worth it. That was so not worth it. I am never putting my heart out there ever again. And when we're in that space, again, I think those first two components can be really helpful in allowing yourself to feel it and be okay with feeling it. However, at some point, you get to take pride in the fact that you were willing to put yourself out there for that job, for that opportunity, for that woman or that man. You put your heart out there, knowing how much it could potentially get hurt, especially if you've been hurt in the past. Knowing how difficult it can be to recover. You put yourself out there. You were willing to feel in a society that is being built to help people avoid the discomfort, avoid those sad feelings, by making it so easy to numb out with drugs, sex, alcohol, pornography, social media, all of the things. You were willing to feel. And that is something to be proud of, because you are showing people that they can do it. You are giving a permission slip for people to do that thing. And you are showing how strong you actually are. And in those moments of rejection, when you can feel pride for putting yourself out there, you are also reminding yourself that you have the strength to recover. You are stronger than you realize. And you can see that because you're proud of putting yourself out there, because you know that that took courage. And that space, and the reason why it's the third is because sometimes it just takes a minute to get there. But once you get there, that space, that builds the strength of character, that builds the integrity, that builds the foundation that you can continue to look back on and grow from, and become stronger each and every time. So every moment of rejection is just a reminder that you're getting stronger and that you're still willing to put yourself out there because of how strong you are. That's the journey. That's the growth. We fall down, we get back up. Otherwise, we stay exactly where we are, down on the ground for the rest of our lives. And I don't know about you, but I'm unwilling to do that. And I think you are too. That's why you're here. That's why you're listening to this. And I hope this is the reminder of how strong you actually are. And so thank you for listening to this. Thank you for taking the time to strengthen yourself, to not give in to any rejection or sadness or depression, to let yourself feel it, but to know that you are setting yourself up to be even stronger than you ever were. I deeply appreciate the courage it takes to do that. I deeply appreciate you spending some of your precious life moments with me here, watching this on YouTube or listening on Spotify or Apple Podcasts, wherever you are. If there's someone in your life that needs to hear this, please send this to them. Let them know that they're stronger than they think. That no matter how much their heart might hurt right now, they'll be okay. You'll be okay. And always, in all ways, you will continue to be seen, heard, and loved.